alaikum. Welcome to the last episode of our Hajj and sacrificing. Indeed, it has been a great journey of Ibrahim alayhi salatu wassalam, his wife Hajra alayhi salam, and his son Ismail alayhi salatu wassalam. And keeping these sacrifices in front of us, now we have to understand, what does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala want from me? What does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala want from us? And why is this being asked for us to sacrifice in the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? See, all these sacrifices are there to seek the pleasure of Allah. Indeed, this is a feast from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on this beautiful occasion of Eid al-Adha. So these last 10 days, which have already started and we are already in the middle of them, we're about to end these last 10 days of Zulhijjah, the first 10 days, of Zulhijjah. We have to understand the importance of the holiness of these days, and du'as are accepted, and however we can engage ourselves in extraordinary worship, we should try our best, and we should ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to uplift the calamities and problems from the ummah and from every single person who are sick and who are in any type of trouble. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easy and give afiyah to the ummah. Now, coming back to the main point in regards to Udhiyah, as I discussed in today's episode, we are going to discuss number one, the types of animal which are to be sacrificed in Udhiyah, which are only cattle animals: camel, cow, goat, or lamb. So the age of the camel is 5 years old. The age of the goat has to be, the cow. The age of a camel is 5 years old. The age of a cow is 2 years old. The age of a goat is 1 year old, and the age of a lamb is also 1 year old. But if a 6 months old lamb is merged with a 1 year old lamb, and it cannot be differentiated, either it's 6 months or 1 year old, that lamb can also be sacrificed in Udhiyah for the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Many want to know that a deer comes from a family of goat, or let's say a bull comes from a cow family, or a kangaroo, or many different animals. No, it has to be from the cattle animals about which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned in Surah Al-An'am. The cattle animals have been mentioned. So any animal you want to do qiyas on, you want to say, okay, this animal resembles this animal, so I'm going to sacrifice this. No. The sacrificing of a poultry, chicken or anything, no. Fish, no. These are, if you cannot afford it, then Udhiyah is not mandatory on you. It is not mandatory. Who is it mandatory on? On whom is it mandatory, the Udhiyah? See, each adult member of the household on whom Sadaqatul Fitr is wajib. The Sadaqatul Fitr is wajib, meaning the person who has the wealth equal to the nisab of zakah. Whoever has given zakah 2 months ago or in Ramadan, so Udhiyah is mandatory upon that person. Yet, yes, if this person is out of the nisab now, a time came in this a month and a half or 2 months since Eid al-Fitr, now he's out of the nisab, you don't have Qurbani mandatory, and Udhiyah is not mandatory on you. And the person has to be baligh, the age of maturity. This person has to reach the age of maturity. Number two, in principle, Udhiyah is Qurbani is mandatory on every individual who has an excess of money equivalent to the nisab, as I mentioned, which is zakat, on the 10th, 11th, and 12th of Zulhijjah. And the nisab of zakat is 612.35 grams of silver and 87.48 grams of gold. If you have this much amount in your possession, then Udhiyah is mandatory on you. Qurbani is wajib upon you. If a person, after paying zakah and deducting his liabilities from his wealth, has the access of money as described, then it is wajib upon him. Otherwise, it doesn't apply for him. The Udhiyah does not apply for this person. Now, it is mustahab. It is only desirable for every person in whose name the Qurbani Udhiyah is being given, that they should not cut their nails or their hair until the sacrifice has been done. Once the animal has been sacrificed on the first day, then you can cut off your nails and everything. However, If you, let's say, if the hair under the armpits or the pubic region has not been cut for 40 days, then one should cut the hair, because it's considered as undesirable, it's considered as makruh. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not like, and it should not exceed the limit of 40 days. The hair growing on the private parts and the nails also, you should cut them, and we have to show cleanliness. And it says at-tuhuru shatrul iman, cleanliness is half of the iman of the person. So if the nails are too long, people ask this question and they're at risk of injuring themselves, then they should cut the nails also. Now, in principle, Qurbani, Udhiyah is not obligatory upon a musafir, a person who is traveling. Therefore, if you do intend of staying in a place for more than 15 days in a city, then it becomes mandatory upon you to do the Udhiyah. However, if you're traveling from one city to another city, it's not mandatory on you to sacrifice an animal. But if you want to do it willingly for the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and to fulfill the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the tariqah of Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam, why not? And so many people can benefit from this meat. So many poor people can benefit from this meat. One last thing, brothers and sisters, I would like to mention. See, there are many people who are going through turbulent times in this day and age now. We should not forget them. If Allah has given us excessive wealth, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has bestowed us, keeping the sacrifice in front of us, we should try to benefit the poor as much as we can, and we should try to help them with the meat, get it cooked for them, facilitate them so they can have a nice and luscious meal on this beautiful day, on the day when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving a feast to us who can afford it, mashallah. Those who cannot afford it, we should try to help them also, because ar-rahimun yarhamuhum ar-rahman irhamu man fil ard yarhamukum man fis sama. That we help the inhabitants and the people in need of this world, the Creator will help us, inshallah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give me and give us all the ability to understand, and we will soon mention to you through our Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, on our social media apps, the procedure of Salatul Eid, inshallah. Stay tuned. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.